Hello, welcome back to Discovering an Educated Life. Today I'm going to be sharing with you what I'm going to be using for 7th grade curriculum for language arts for my only child. The last year or so, I felt like I just was all over the place with it, and I really wanted to have something laid out really solid for us going into 7th grade. So I made some choices and wanted to share it with my channel. So first, I'm going to be using just 10 real books. I haven't picked the books. I'll be sharing that in a little bit more depth when we get closer to 7th grade, and I actually have a plan laid out, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit. I'm going to be creating like a PDF for any of my followers to kind of use that schedule if they want to kind of work along with what I'm doing this year. That's something new I'm going to be trying out to see if anybody is interested in working through language arts with us. So first I want to share our literature. So I haven't picked our 10 books yet, but I will be sharing that within the next couple of weeks. But I will be picking 10 books for the year, and I'm going to be using different guides to work through those 10 books. I'm also going to be using the book How to Read Literature Like a Professor for Kids. So that's by Thomas Foster. This book is supposed to really help kids to think about what they're reading. I think it's really important going into 7th grade that my daughter isn't just reading for fun anymore, which is great, and she loves to read, but I want her reading for content as well. So I think this book will be really helpful. I picked this up on Amazon. The second thing for literature that we will be doing is the literature book from DK, and this is more, I felt like, of a historical element to it, and it is just walking through literature in different time periods. Like I'll show you, like it starts with, I'm trying to get past the intro here, like heroes and legends is what it starts with. And so it's a timeline. I didn't realize that when I bought this book, but I still think it's really cool. And I think it would be really nice to use this book alongside our history over the next couple of years. So like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, I think we'll be utilizing this book alongside our history to understand what was happening in the different eras in literature. I think that's a really cool take on literature, to study it from a historical perspective. Of course, I threw my book on the ground. That's okay. It's fine. So moving on, I don't want to move because I have my setup in front of me, and I think I will knock it down and it'll be all crazy. So moving right along, for reading, we will be doing Reading Detective from Critical Thinking Company. Now, I'm sure you understand reading's a little different than literature. This is reading comprehension, grades 7, 8, and this is going to be things like inference and context clues, and it's just something that, like, given I've always been like a Charlotte Mason homeschooler, and given that I have never done anything like this with her. I mean, I'm talking ever. Like, we've maybe done 1 or 2 worksheets over the years in like a Brain Quest workbook. But I mean, I've never asked her to do comprehension because I make her do narration and then we talk about books. But I kind of felt like this was missing from our course in the last couple of years. I felt like there was a component that was missing. So I really haven't seen a whole lot of language arts curriculums that include something like this, unless you're using like a whole hog curriculum, like something like a Becca or maybe BJU. I don't even know if they have it. I'm sure some of them have things like this over the years, but I've just never used one. So that's kind of where this brought me. And this isn't super thick. I feel like we might do this. We'll probably finish this in a year, maybe twice a week or something with that book. Nothing really crazy. So now I'm just throwing them on the ground. Next is spelling. We're going to be finishing up our spelling. You see American Spirit. Yeah. Part 2. We did part 1 already. And she's only like just started this. She's done like the first couple of lessons out of this. So she still has quite a bit left. And if we don't get done with this, I will probably have her finish this in 7th grade. But whenever she does finish that, we will move on to word roots. We did complete not level 1, but the beginning level this year. She will be doing level 1 next year. So this word roots is quite a bit thicker than the beginning level. And I will also be having her practice this as a spelling and vocabulary list on Spelling City and Vocabulary City. We didn't do that this year or ever, but I've been looking into it, and I think it's a nice way to play games and practice your words that's not going to make her write them all. She's just not a big fan of that style of school. So we will be doing that for 7th grade. Next, so that is everything for spelling. It's just going to be finishing one and then jumping into the other. Then we'll be starting on writing. This book right here is what she's doing right now. This is 180 Days of Writing for 6th grade, but I don't think she'll be done with it, given how we've used it. We started the year using Guest Hollow, so this is not what we started the year with, and then I purchased this because I felt like she needed some more. Now, this is meant to be a supplement, but it's actually worked out really well for us because it's just helped me to see where there's a gap. Like, that's what I use this for. I've just worked through it, and whenever I come to something that I'm like, oh, she doesn't really know that, I find a YouTube video, I go to Teachers Pay Teachers, and I supplement with something to help teach it. But most of the things she's actually known pretty well, and I've been able to either explain it, or she's just been able to do it herself, or I've been able to go on YouTube or something and find a quick video. But a couple of things we did pause and say, hey, we'll do that. Now, another thing I was using this year is BrainQuest. I like to use BrainQuest workbooks. Obviously, we're kind of phasing out of the age for that. So next year, we won't use BrainQuest. I might finish up the book if we're not done with 6th grade, but I'm not sure yet. But this will be probably not done. So I'll probably start the year with this. So I wanted to note that first. And you'll notice, I want to say this has like practice, assess, diagnose. I love that about this because this just shows me what I need to teach. That's kind of what I like. I'm liking that in curriculum lately. Instead of buying like an all-in-one box that's real expensive, I actually bought this used for like $5 and it was not written in. And I was able to use that all year this year to help assess what she needed to know. That was amazing. So moving right along, we're going to be doing outlining. This is a super thin book. I don't know if any of you have ever read Susan Wise Bauer's The Well-Trained Mind, but we're going to be doing outlining this year. And the outlining is what it looks like. It's literally just teaching how to outline. Not even necessarily to do a paper. This has build study skills, increase comprehension, boost organization skills, develop writing skills, exercise logic skills, evaluate and classify information. So I'm going to be using this to teach her how to write an outline or to create an outline to write a paper. So it says on the back, with the skills taught in this unit, students will be better equipped to use an outline to write stories and reports. And we're just going to work through this book and spend a few weeks like really focusing on outlining. Probably once I finish this, or I might just go ahead and start this. Now, what that's going to help her to do is I'm going to be having her write some reports in history this year and some reports in science this year, and I think that's really going to help with that. Next, I guess last for writing is this big old boy here. This is thick and huge, and it is just a really big old thick writing program. Now, there's not a whole lot on each page. That's kind of why I'm showing you and flipping through this. This is Writers in Residence from Apologia. Now, they no longer publish this. I was able to purchase this for $1 on Christian Book a few months back, and I am really excited about that. Because it's going out of publication. So I believe that Deborah Bell, the writer, moved to a different curriculum company, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what happened. So that's how I ended up getting this all-in-one work text for $1. And I did purchase the teacher's guide for $1 also. But you'll notice this says it's a student text and workbook. So it has both the assignments and writing for the student to read, and then it also has the spots to write, like here. This, there are writing prompts. You write directly in this book. So I don't know that it's something you could even pick up used at this point, but that is my plan for language arts once she finishes up what we're working on the current year. But I want to note here, when she does finish what she's working on and we move into this does, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying not to sneeze. This does have, grammar, but the grammar in this is specifically usage. It is not grammar like systematic grammar. So I'll show you what I'm going to be using for that. Sorry, all this stuff right here. Okay, so I have 3 resources I'm going to be using for grammar. The first one is this Thin Critical Thinking Company workbook on sentence diagramming, beginning sentence diagramming. So we're going to be doing that. The second is Editor-in-Chief. This is grades 7 to 8. I think this one said grades 3 to 12. It's just teaching you to diagram a sentence. This one is grades 6 to 8. So it's the middle school level 2 Editor-in-Chief. And this teaches you about a part of speech or something in grammar that's important, and you need to know how to edit, and then you go in and edit it in a paragraph form. But then I noticed some of the things, just a few, I was like, I don't know if that's enough background information when it introduces it. So I do have this to supplement when I feel like it's necessary. So this just is Language Fundamentals from Evan Moore, and it has nouns, adjectives, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, sentences, capitalization, abbreviations, punctuation, usage, and vocabulary. So that's going to be our Language Fundamentals. Now, that'll be everything for grammar for 7th grade and everything for writing and literature. One thing I will note that we do for literature is I read aloud. So we use Read Aloud Revival from Sarah McKenzie, and we are pretty much always reading through whatever the family book is, and I do that like in afternoon time, and we read so many books. My daughter is an avid reader. We go to the library all the time, and we read a lot. So I'm not super concerned about reading. I do want to do that literature analysis I was talking about. My biggest concern, I guess, this year is writing, and I want her to kind of really get a good grasp on grammar in 7th grade. I don't want too much of a focus on it in 8th. And honestly, it would be really nice if this is it for middle school. Like if we could just complete these 3 books for all of middle school, that would be pretty awesome. If we could that's it. And then we're able to move on past that into high school to do something else. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm not positive. We did do some different things this year that I'm going to be either keeping or stopping. One I will mention I'm keeping is typing.com. I really like typing.com. It's a free resource that my daughter uses. One we will be getting rid of is Night Zookeeper. My daughter has really enjoyed it this year, but I haven't felt like it has been worth the money I've put into it. I think if she was a little younger, I would feel like that, but I kind of forget to do it sometimes. And like, she has so many other writing resources I'm showing you here that it's just one of those things that kind of, it doesn't get used the way I want it to. It kind of falls to the wayside and we just forget to use it. So Night Zookeeper is probably going to be, we're going to be doing, I think I pay like $15 or something a month for it. And that's a lot for something we're using once a week or twice a week. Then another thing that I think we will be getting rid of for next year's Brain Quest. She's aging out of it, and I'm really sad about that, but we've been doing Brain Quest the last couple of years, and I think we're probably going to age out of that as well. So I think that's everything for language arts. So if you could just hit like and subscribe on my YouTube and just let me know what you guys are using this year. And like I said, I'm going to be putting a plan out there of a reading schedule. So if you guys want to follow along with me and use some of the resources I'm using, I'm going to be kind of creating a PDF for that and showing what guides I'm going to be using to work through this year, and maybe see if we can like come together on that and see how the reading is going, because I love discussing books, and I think it would be a really fun way to share things on my YouTube this year and to talk about what we're reading. So I'll see you next time. Thank you.